Monster Hunter Wilds put Lagiacuras into the game. How do you want to pronounce it? I know in the game they say Lagiacuras, which sounds absolutely lame. Lagiacuras? Like, come on, get over yourself. I hear other people say Lagiacuras, which sounds really cool. And when I was a kid, I would say Lagiacuras because I didn't see the A in there because I couldn't really read properly. And I think Lagiacuras is pretty cool, but Lagiacuras is also really cool. Anyway, the fight is peak as hell. They said they weren't going to put like water combat in the game, and they kind of did, which is really sick. But just in general, I'm very excited to see this monster in the game. I mean, I'm talking so fast because I'm really excited about it, and I want to play more. Obviously, my first Monster Hunter game was Monster Hunter Tri, and that's why I was super excited to see Lagiacuras come into the game again. Yes, I'm going to keep pronouncing it that way since I've been pronouncing it since I was like 10 years old. But that was my first Monster Hunter game, so I haven't fought this thing in a very, very long time, because it hasn't been around in a very, very long time. And yeah, I remember water combat being a little bit annoying back in Monster Hunter Tri, because it was a little clunky, but little kid me didn't really care, because it was still fun nonetheless. And the iteration they have in this version is actually kind of cool. It's more of just a cinematic part of the fight. It's not actually that hard, but it's really sick. Maybe in the tempered version, I haven't fought the tempered one yet, I haven't been able to find it. But maybe it changes it up a little bit, might be a little harder. But you get some really sick cinematics down there, especially when you exit the water. And of course, the armor set looks as good as ever, and the weapons look as good as ever. Now, I have never been like the biggest fan of the weapons. I think the armor set's really cool. The weapons are meh. The katana is absolute wonderhoy. I mean, the thunderclap is awesome, don't get me wrong. But I've never been the biggest fan of like the weird sort of finny blue-orange designs. They're just more nostalgic to me. I like how they look, just based on the principle of I really like this monster and it's been so long since I've seen it. Except for the katana, that is absolute peak. And actually the greatsword is also super sick. I guess it just depends on which weapon. But man, I love this monster. I forgot how large Lagiacuras actually is. I mean, when I ran into it for the first time, I was like, damn, this thing is huge. Because it is. It's a big monster. It's the king of the seas, after all. And I think it's just so cool. I don't know what else to say, man. It's peak. They added peak into the game, and the armor set seems kind of interesting. I haven't gotten to play around with it yet, but it gives you some unique set bonuses. I mean, it sounds pretty cool, the armor set bonus. If you wear 2 or 4 pieces, it gives you a different amount. The 2 is the basic, the 4 is like the upgraded version. It's this thing called a Zur Bolt, and what it does is it says it increases your affinity by whatever amount, and then also will deal an extra bit of thunder damage, which is really cool. I just looked it up on the wiki. Affinity gets boosted by 15%, whether you have 2 or 4 slots in. If you have 4 pieces of armor, the duration is 30 seconds. If you have 2 pieces of armor, the duration is 20 seconds. So you get 15% additional affinity when you activate it. But then you also do like this little thunder damage when you activate it. It's very similar to other skills like Flare, Scorcher, White Flame Torrent, where it does like that additional damage on top just whenever it activates. But now it also gives you some nice chunky affinity. I mean, 15% is nothing to scoff at. So you are definitely rewarded for just laying onto an enemy. Seems like this will work really well with something like Lance, Sword and Shield, Dual Blades, Long Sword, anything that kind of is really good at keeping your aggression up. And that's not to ignore that the actual skills on the armor itself are pretty good. And I'm looking at the beta set. It's got a bunch of weakness exploit, a bunch of stamina surge, and then some maximum might on it. And then it looks like 1 level of latent power. So even the armor itself has some pretty decent skills. I mean, weakness exploit on its own is incredibly valuable. And the maximum might mixed with stamina surge means that you'll be able to keep your affinity up. Maybe Dual Blades isn't the best for this armor because you're going to be running out of stamina a lot. So this will probably be better for, like I said, Lance, Sword and Shield, Long Sword, things that don't drain your stamina constantly. But it's definitely not a bad armor set. That is something I think would be really fun to build around, especially on things weak to thunder, because I imagine that thunder damage it does is going to be increased depending on if the enemy's weak to it or not. And it's just a good, aggressive sort of armor set. Now, let me go find a weapon real quick. The weapons sound somewhat interesting. They have this thing called Convert Thunder Resistance, and it converts how much thunder resistance you have into damage. It says increase your weapon's elemental attack proportional to your thunder resistance. I don't know the specific numbers, but it might be pretty good. And then each weapon, because that on its own is incredible, will also come with extra skills depending on what weapon class it is. Like the greatsword will come with 2 levels of focus, which is very good. The dual blades have 2 levels of power prolonger. And it looks like they come with pretty good skills on each of the weapons too, on top of convert thunder resistance. If the wiki is anything to go by, it says that the limit is either 350 more elemental damage or it says the limit is either 350 more than the base element of the weapon or 1.9 times of the base element, which is essentially doubling the elemental damage. And that's honestly kind of fucking strong if I'm reading this right. Meaning, like, Icarus is definitely worth the hunt. He's also just really fun to hunt. I mean, I really enjoy the hunt. I really like looking at the monster. The thing is huge. It's got some interesting weak points. For instance, the tail, which usually is like a weak point for sever weapons, is kind of just resistant to damage in general, so you're not going to hit like super big numbers on it even with a sever. And you actually want to focus on its claws, its head, and interesting enough, it seems like a weak point is on its back, where you want to hit its shock crystals, whatever the hell they're called, I don't know. But overall, I'm very happy with the addition of like Icarus in the game. I've been looking forward to hunting this thing for whenever Monster Hunter Tri came out. It's been a very long time. Been looking forward to see it in modern HD definition, blah blah blah, you know, the modern games. And hopefully they'll add in some sub-variants if like Master Rank comes around, or just later updates where it's even cooler. And with that, we'll talk about Sregios another time, because I'm not as familiar with that. I've just been hunting like Icarus really, so yeah, see ya, that's it.